Back in the early 1980s in Hull, the best band was Red Guitars. After them came Three Action, and after them came the Gargoyles. The fourth best band in Hull, though, were the Housemartins. And I'm delighted to say that Paul Heaton and Stan Cullimore have joined us now to talk about... Well, is that still your opinion? Would you still put yourself there?
I'm not sure it was true. I think we were near a seventh best, but we tried to ignore some others.
And I think it was about right, to be honest.
Do you?
Do you reckon? I thought we were being overly generous to ourselves.
Were you popular in Hull, or when you became famous, was it a surprise to people in Hull?
We'd played a lot of gigs in Hull, actually. We'd played at the main place you used to play in Hull, and still do, the Adelphi. And, we got quite a following there.
So people who saw us liked us, some of them.
Yeah.
Because I think we were quite friendly. We used to go out and talk to them all, didn't we? Literally, one by one. Literally be our friend.
Yeah, but I think in general people liked us. I think when you get on and have a couple of hits, then people's opinions of you may change.
The John Peel effect, when
Was it a scene that you emerged from in Hull?
No.
Or was it
No,
hang on, I never. Paul, there's a scene in Hull. There was then, there is now, but we can't talk about it.
I would say the relationship between first, second, third, and fourth best bands was non-existent, I have to say.
Really?
No. Yeah. I mean, I know we knew Jerry Kidd from... was it Jerry Kidd from Red Guitars? You've got no memory.
No, I have. Lou. I knew the girl Lou.
Lou Barlow.
Lou Barlow. Yeah.
We knew those, but that was about it, really.
Yeah. So go on then, tell us, because you two are the colonel, as it were, of the band, aren't you, originally?
The lieutenant colonel, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. So go on, wow, you were busking, weren't you?
Well, I advertised for a busker and Stan came round. Stan was a university student and I...
Oh, that's right. Make me out to be a ponce. I was...
Oh, right, okay. Well, you were like, whatever.
I was hard. I was working very hard at something.
You were hard. And we started off busking, and we started busking down Whitefrigate and at Spring Street Theatre, doing little shows and stuff like that, and gradually expanded in sort of 84, 85 to a four-piece.
So he was an incomer, and you were an indigenous oik, were you?
No, I wasn't indigenous oik.
No.
I was an oik, but I wasn't indigenous. I'd moved all around the country already, and a bit more now. But what we cleverly did... As you mentioned, the Gargoyles were the third best band. Yeah. We nicked two of their members to crown them immediately, so we moved up a step.
We suddenly overtook their
We rendered them useless.
Did you have a set idea of what the Housemartins was going to be? Because it seemed like at the time, the whole way you looked and everything, the way it sounded, it seemed kind of like a breath of fresh air, didn't it? It seemed completely unposed and sort of meticulously uncool in quite a cool sort of way.
There was a game plan, and it was a short game plan, which is exactly how long it sort of lasted, a couple of years. And we liked to dress as we didn't all just happen to turn up for the audition dressed in dresses and cardigans.
No.
That was engineered, I must say.
Right,
but it wasn't, what was fun about it wasn't engineered by the record company or anything like that. It was before them, and the thing with the crosses on the side of the head was well before we got a contract. That it resurfaced actually in Caravan of Love. But in general, it was engineered, but at least by
I think
band members.
You and Norman would have liked to be cool about it, because you had someone like me and Hugh in the band who weren't ever going to be cool. That's what made the breath. They were the fresh air. We were the sort of stale breath. That made it unique. People look at us and think, well, we want to like them, but they're kind of strange and odd.
I think we were quite, in a way, one of the last bands who looked a bit odd. I mean, the way facially. I mean,
we still look odd. I still do,
but like we were probably one of the last bands who got into smash hits. Before they thought we can't have bands like that anymore.
Imagine someone like Simon Cowell seeing us come on a stage.
That's interesting.
He would vomit into a bucket, wouldn't he? He would go, get them away from me.
Or would he go, hey, you quirky guys?
I really noticed that neither of you presenters have said, no, you weren't that bad. And on stage, have you said, actually, you were all right?
No, you were great. I've told you the story before, Paul, but bizarrely, my mum, I was a student, and my mum said, oh, there was some tickets on offer on Granada Telly the other night, so I've sent for you four for a band. You like them bands, don't you? And I said, yeah, I do. And I was back home for, Christmas or whatever it was, the summer. And it was for you in Bolton.
That's right.
For a TV show in Bolton.
Yeah,
and I have to confess, I don't think I'd heard any of your records at that point. And I went along and thought, they're fantastic, yeah. And you were in the Chippy next door. I've told you the Paul before.
Trying to work on our spots.
Yeah. No. And it was, but I see what you mean. No, of course we're going to deny it. You were gorgeous.
You were heavenly and angelic.
I think we've always been more than ordinary. That's, or less than ordinary, whatever the word is.
Should we hear something from
from
this landmark release, which, thank goodness, is being reissued?
Isn't it? Well, I think it's odd that it survived long enough to be reissued. I think it's amazing.
Well, what was the original release date, actually?
God knows.
84.
86.
6, yeah.
All right,
86,
okay.
Oh, showing fingers on buzzers there.
So, the Housemartins, London 0, Hull 4, and first off, we're going to hear Think for a Minute. Think for a Minute by the Housemartins from London 0, Hull 4. Paul Heaton and Stan Collymore are with us. I'd like to play that for Hamish. Anyway, Hamish says, I've got my last GCSE history exam tomorrow, and to convince my parents I've revised, can you please play a song involving either suffragettes, Tolpuddle martyrs, or transportation? And it strikes me that those are subjects that could have cropped up in the Housemartins Interview, because you see, like, one of the nifty tricks you pulled off was like writing quite kind of barbed and serious things, but disguised as jaunty pop music.
Jaunty's good.
Well, it wasn't disguised. That's genuinely a misery I have when writing lyrics, and just a wish to sing a decent melody.
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly.
I think, but all my stuff's always jaunty. So you were cursed if everyone was involved. It was going to be jaunty, sort of happy, smiley stuff.
Very early gigs when there was just the two of us. I used to think, why are the audience laughing and smiling?
Yeah.
And it was only when I looked back and he was just going like this that I realised,
I'm Mr. Cheerful,
I'm
happy,
not having a
happy.
go, but I'd be like singing these real serious songs like that. And he'd be like
Pulling faces and doing bunny ears behind you. Hey, look at me, Mum.
I saw them described today on one website.
What were you doing looking at
I
the
was
website?
just looking at, but it's not a particularly original thought. But they said about the Beautiful South, well, they were Trojan horses.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They smuggled in these anti-establishment sentiments in kind of in music that would penetrate the mainstream sort of chart. Yeah.
I'm not sure horse and penetrate should be used in the same sentence anymore.
Well, are you?
That's what I'm saying. Just a suggestion.
Did you ever intend anything like that? Was that too much of a plan?
Did you ever
clever.
wish to
It's
penetrate
clever.
horses with the Beautiful South? I'm just asking. I think everyone should know.
It wasn't as clever as that. I think there was all sorts of things going on with the Housemartins, because, I mean, you know, we weren't indie because we sung some gospel stuff, and we weren't gospel, we sung some, you know, like harder stuff, and then some a cappella stuff, and then there was this stuff we were talking off air about.
We weren't
the
very
drums
hygienic,
and all that sort of stuff, and
Quite smelly. That was always a big
there was
problem.
a lot of different things going on, so I wouldn't have thought we'd be that bright to think we didn't even think we'd get in the charts. I don't think anybody that then did. We got on John Peel and thought, brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and then there was a pecking order going down that somebody might play you during the daytime.
Yeah.
And they did. And
I have to say, for me, there was never a game plan. I think you're always more into details than me. It's like this. There's no game plan. We met up last week because someone asked us to.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You asked me to come here for this. It's always like a bit of a sort of accidental happiness.
So at what point? So at some point, though, presumably someone said, you know, this you may not be just staying on John Peel's sort of universe forever. You could go elsewhere. Did that become quickly apparent to you?
Well, yeah, because the staircase then was Peel at the bottom, and then Janice Long, and it was all quite structured. And Janice Long started playing it, and then I can't remember Bruno Brooks or something like that. Was like
possibly
5 o'clock.
Peter Powell or
And it went back during the day until Steve Wright would play, and that was it. You were away
then you were done. Yeah, you were at the top of the
Yeah,
tree.
correct. I mean, did you take to being pop stars? You were talking before about like finding yourselves doing a photo shoot for Jackie magazine.
Well, at the time, yeah. Because everything that coming in was the first time you'd done everything.
Yeah.
So when somebody said, "Oh, it's Top of the Pops," you'd say, "Yeah." And if it was number 73, do you remember the program?
Oh, yeah, I
somebody
loved all that stuff, yeah.
had to go down to Mason.
Yes,
So
I remember
everything
that,
was
yes.
exciting.
Yeah.
But I think Hugh was the obvious one who couldn't stand it. That's why he left.
The
early.
drummer, yeah.
He really couldn't bear it. And I never really was comfortable with that whole sort of being well-known thing. I never really liked that much.
No.
I liked the fun stuff, like doing telly was fun, but I didn't like being well-known and people shouting at you in the street and stuff, and all the weirdness and the fans.
Well,
and
I
things.
had that. I took that on to the Beautiful South. I had that.
Oh, yeah, you were
advantage
saying more than I did, much
of sort of
more.
like saying, well, the songs were actually more famous than me in the Beautiful South. So I took a
You
step
should have
backwards.
worn like false glasses and a false nose when you're on stage in the
did.
Beautiful South. I'm saying.
Yeah.
And of course, should
You
mention.
look like you.
Oh, that's true. Actually, I said, what the hell? There's
Should
another
mention,
ugly
of
guy
course,
in the band.
another downside, if you thought it was a downside of that film, is quite quickly, because you had, at the height of Thatcherism, you had kind of left-wing views. Then you became kind of whipping boys by some of the tabloids, didn't you? Was
Yeah,
that,
we
what,
did.
Yeah, what was that like? Was that
Not just the tabloids as well. I remember a really vindictive right-wing attack from Melody Maker on us.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So,
Just
did you think, well,
solely on
good,
our
we're doing the
politics.
right thing if we're making those enemies? or-
Well, I cried and then said it was a good thing. Cried in my room alone for several months. Well, it's quite difficult because me and Stan were both living on Grafton Street, and you had the stories about being gay or being beaten up and all that. And I ran a little football team at the back, and certain people withdrew their kids